Hey, there we are. Looks like we're getting ready. Let me just get Instagram fired back up here. I swiped the wrong way and I don't know how to get out of it. So give me 1 second and we'll get that going. And there we go. Cool. Welcome to 229. Here we are climbing up the charts. YouTube's here, Facebook is here, Instagram is here. Up the charts. YouTube's here, Facebook is here, Instagram is here. Good evening to all of you. This is the episode 229 WhysAdvice podcast. We're going to talk about, I'll give you my recap of the FinCEN conference. Susan checks in from California. Tracy is here. Good evening. Lee is here. Woo! Marty's here. Hello. Corey from Connecticut, also known as DC. Good to see you. Very fun. Corey was in DC with us. Very fun. Corey was in DC with us. Glenda is here from Salt Lake. Glenda, thank you for your email today. I appreciate that very much. And Anna is here from Brainbridge, Georgia. Got power back finally. I saw that on where did I see that? On Instagram, maybe. Where did I see it? Facebook? I must have seen it on Facebook. Yeah, I guess I saw it in the Wise Women group. So, Anne is here. Good evening to you. Great to see you again. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, and Megan's here. So, Megan, there is something that you didn't text. So, I somehow saved a couple phone numbers from this weekend, and I saved a number for Connie, Megan, and Anne. I think I saved them all backwards. So, because someone texted me yesterday, and I thought it was Megan, but it was Connie. So I have all the phone numbers now confused. So if you text me and I reply something that doesn't make sense, it's because I saved the phone number wrong. There's a lot of people. We're sitting around. We're passing phones around. I don't know, but it happened. So Anne and Megan, good to see both of you again. So Anne was there. Megan was there. Corey was there. Let's see, Southern Maryland, Kathleen is here, Jamie is here, Kathleen, Cheryl from Virginia. I have a little bit of a cold, can you guys tell? Cool. Susan says, go Dodgers? All right, well, that's all I have for tonight. So, remember, if, blah, 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 I'm done. If you're going to come in here and say, go Dodgers, that's just, I don't even feel like doing the show now. It's terrible. How can you come in here and say, go Dodgers? Absolutely terrible. Diane from Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Very fun. I used to live in South Berwick, Maine, not too far. I used to work in Portsmouth. So very, very cool. Rob Ann is here in Chicago. Carrie is here. Good evening. Colette from Long Island. Good evening to you. Regina checking in from California. Jamie says, go Red Sox. See, that's how you do it. Man. Stephanie says, my first live show. I'm so excited watching from Colorado. Ooh, we ring a bell when it's your first show. Just like that. We ring a little bell. We're going to tighten it down. So cool. Stephanie, good evening to you. Wendy from Missouri, we'll see you in a couple weeks, right? Woo! Looking forward to that. Wendy's coming out to Indy. Let's see. Donna checked in from Kentucky. Diane says hi from Boston again. Go Red Sox. Exactly. Christy says, I was just talking about you today. Had a meeting, down 1 pound. Less than 2 to go. Man, how fun is that? Woo! That just kind of gives me a little chills. I like it. Dina is here from Southern Indiana. Good evening to you. Karen just checking in. Linda is here from Sandwich, Illinois. Couldn't live there. Greetings. Stephanie says Lee. Sue says hi from the Sierra Nevada mountains in California. So let's see. Karen, got you. Debbie from Rockville, Illinois. Phoenix in the house. Alice, good evening to you. Let's see. Ring the bell for Stephanie. I did, Lee. I did. Daisy, I got you first time this try. Woohoo! Daisy, good evening to you. You guys all have to say hi to Daisy. For some reason, Facebook skips her in my searching. But I said hi to her on Instagram earlier, so that was pretty cool. Rockford, Illinois, Coletta checks in. They got you. Let's see, Colorado Springs, Pamela's here. Let's Mary from Ohio. Let's see, Bloomington, Indiana. Janice is here. When you're out of socks, stop. Lisa's, when you're out of socks, stop cheering blue. I got it. Patty M checking in on YouTube from Chicago. Good evening to you. Rob Ann is saying hi to Daisy from Instagram over to Daisy's on Facebook. So I will relay the message for you. Hi from Rosie from Scarborough. Good evening to you. Michelle says, hi Daisy, that's my daughter's name. Very cool. Let's see. California, go Dodgers. Man, it's another one of you. I'm not sure what we're going to do with you. No, well, hang on. Let's do this right. Oops, and it says, my chair. So it says, you guys read that, right? And then, there, is that better? Susan? Susan, crazy Dodger fan. I'm not even sure. I'm just not even sure what's going on. Carol from, Susan, we've been through a lot. I've helped you a lot. I was like all nice to you and stuff the whole time. And you come in here and say, go Dodgers? Man. Jody from Westport, Mass. Good evening to you. Let's see. Doris from Farmington, Connecticut. Good evening to you. Red Debbie says, hi, Marie and all. Checking in from the state of Washington is Brianna. Good evening to you. Let's see. Go Pats. This is Cheryl. I agree with that too. Maggie says, hello from Alabama. Good evening to you. Let's see. Syracuse. Kathy checks in. Clarice from Baltimore. Good evening to you. Let's see. Carol is saying hi to Daisy. I like it. Look at all the hi Daisies. Lee says, I wrote it before you rang. I know. All right, cool. So what I'm going to do, yeah, Debbie says Sandwich is too small. Sandwich, Illinois. I could not live in Sandwich, Illinois. I just couldn't. It'd be like living in Pizza, Indiana. I'd have to move. I just couldn't do it. But what we're going to do, we're going to get this show on the road. We're going to do episode 229. I'll do a recap of Fincy. I think you'll enjoy that. We'll go through the presentation. Probably not the same spirited way that I did at the convention, but I'll certainly get through all the highlights. Donna says, doctor took me off my second diabetes meds this week. Man, saving me about $2,000 a year. How cool is that? You need to capture that in an email and shoot it to me. That needs to get shared differently for sure. Oh man, that's very cool. Denise from Seattle, very cool. Let's see, scrolling through. Instabook says hi to Facegram, says Lee. Linda says hi from Indiana. This is cutting out. Let's see, Tallahassee. Anna is here. Keith is here. Carol saying, are you still leading meetings in Indy? I am, 2 meetings a week. So, no, I'm not. I'm not leading meetings. I am leading workshops. 2 workshops a week. I'm doing a wellness workshop in Carmel, and I'm doing a wellness workshop in Plainfield. If you go to fatdag.com, you'll see my calendar. Click on the event tab. I keep that relatively current as to what meetings I'm doing, so you can certainly know. Sorry, not what workshops that I'm doing. So you certainly can keep an eye on that. But yeah, so that's how you find out where I am most of the time, and you can stalk me and whatnot. So, whew. Susan says, go Red Sox. Thank you. Thank you. Man. Jamie says, awesome. Chris Benyon got me this. If you guys aren't following Chris Benyon, he's the man. He has not touched it. He just bought it. That's all we know about that. Teresa says, past my bedtime, up at 4:10 for a run. Yep. I got my run in today. Man, I really did. It was fun. Michelle says, go Seahawks. No, not so much. Let's see. Yeah, Susan, you know what? Just for that, I may not come to San Francisco next week, 2 weeks from now. Um, Marcia says, "Holy crap! I really messed up." Hi everyone. Hi Daisy. Hi Daisy. Jeff from Rock Hill, South Carolina. Lenny is here. Woohoo! Good evening to you. Heather is here. Sharon is here from Illinois. Jennifer from New Hampshire. Go Sox. There we go. Way to go. Nice hat. I like it. Yeah, Megan, do that. Go ahead and text me with your name so I know which one's yours. I think I have you in there twice. I think that's the issue. But I think Connie texted me. I think because I handed you my phone and said text a picture to yourself, and I thought you put in Connie's number in there. Anyway, I don't remember. All I know is I don't have your right number. Karen says, I am a coach at a studio. Yes, I am not leading meetings anymore. I quit that. I quit being a leader. I quit doing meetings. Just instantly was like, I'm done with this. And what I've done is I've decided that I want to work in a studio, and I want to be a wellness coach, and I want to lead workshops. So that's what I'm doing. So I quit meetings and I quit being a leader. You heard it here first. Wes Hatford, Chrissy checks in. Good evening to you. Lynette says, glad I can listen live. We're glad you can too. Very fun. Lenny says, game 2 is on right now. Lenny, I don't have a television, man. So, it's kind of hard to watch the game when you ain't got a TV. So I'll wake up in the morning, and if they win, I'll go yay. If they lost, I'll go boo, and I'll move on with my life. That's pretty much how sports and I interact, right? I could care less. I root for certain teams. I want certain teams to win. But I go to bed when it's time to go to bed, and I wake up and go, oh, cool. Yeah, very fun. Judy says, we saw the evidence of your run. Megan Miller. So I did have that. Look, it says Megan on it. I don't know if you can read it. It's not readable. But it says Megan Miller here. All right, so yeah, so that one's you. So I don't know. The other one I had Connie, and I had you listed as Connie. So I had you in there. So anyway, cool. Well, now I know. Cool. All right, let's do this. Yeah, I'm coaching workshops. Yes. Go Packers, man. We're gonna have to do something about this sports stuff. I promise you we are. All right, I'm skipping a whole bunch of email, a whole bunch of text. So Kathleen says 5 a.m. comes too early. Have a great show. Catch it on the replay. So here we go. I'm working on, let's do some water. Let's do a mic check. Let's do some stuff. Let's do a show. Feeling defeated these days, but I'm not, but I'm going to keep on doing what I need to do. Yes, you are, Lori. I'm going to talk about that this episode because that's kind of the theme right now. Let me make a note of that real quick. Karen, thank you. Don't let me forget. I'm not going to do it right now, but don't let me forget. All right. Let's get this fired up here. Cool. All right, let's get this done. So we're gonna do. I'll do a recap of a recap of Fincy to include the DC run. Let's see. Yep. So I'll do a recap of the DC run, and Fincy right after these messages. Cheers. Anna says, I love listening to the pop. I'm not sure I can chug this whole one. Terry! Woohoo! Hey guys, my leader is on Instagram watching right now. Right now. It says Terry Maynard one join. That's the leader that got me to goal. So we have to be on our best behavior from this point forward. So cheers. That's right. It's not my leader. It's my coach. Terry quit being a leader too, like that. She just instantly quit being a leader, and now she's a coach. She's a coach. All right. Oh, you know what? I got to do, not only do I have to hit record, I got to get the tape. If I didn't put this in the machine, we don't get a recording. Let's put that in. Get that going. And then let's press this button. And let's do that, and that, and that, and that. Uh-oh. Need to do something here. Let me see. Getting there. Almost gonna reboot everything. I just don't want it to not work, you know? So, all right, let's try that again. That. There we go. Whew. Okay, cool. So now that's good. And then we're recording. All right, recording. Heather says, second time listener here. You're excited. So cool. So, all right. So again, here we go. We're going to do the episode. We're going to do a recap of Fincy, and we will do all kinds of stuff. So hang in there. Let's get this done. Oops. Yeah, I can still wear my Boston hat, thanks to Chris. So, all right, mic check, testing. Test. There it is. I want to make sure I got, there it is. Much better, much. Testing, 1, 2, test. All right, cool. Here we go. Cheers. Let's do it. I am your host, Fat Dag. You're listening to Wise Advice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at fatdag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, all at Wise Advice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, hello there. Welcome to episode 229. Just got back from an awesome trip out in Washington, D.C. I want to recap a lot of that for you, tell you all about the Food Nutrition Conference and Expo, which is up in Washington, D.C. Had a great opportunity to speak up there and then hung out with about, I don't know, probably 30 or so of us wingmen. I'm not sure if it was that many or not, but that all got to do a 5K in the morning. And I want to tell you all about that. But I want to make sure first, before we get into that point, I want to make sure you're finding the podcast everywhere it needs to be found. Go to your app store. Make sure you get the Wise Advice app. That's the best way to hear the podcast. You can subscribe through iTunes as well, which is cool. Reviews out there always help. I like seeing those, so thank you for those of you who continue to do that. The app is also in Spotify. It's in iHeartRadio. It's in Stitcher Radio. Just about anywhere you can find a podcast, you certainly can tune in. So always appreciate your support. Always appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for the interaction in the Wise Wingman Facebook group. If you're not in that group, you're missing out. Get over to wisewingman.com. Get over in there. It'll pop you automatically into the Facebook group. There's about 5,000 of us. Lindsay's in there. She's just an amazing rock star that just posts every single day. And she just is just full of energy. And so get in there, hang out with all of us in there. It really is an inspiring community. And then, of course, you can also join us in the Patreon community. For as little as $1 a month, you can support the show from fatdag.com. Click on the Become a Patron link, and you'll get launched into that community as well. That community gets access to the script a little bit ahead of time, and they've seen this presentation that we're going to talk about later already. So that's the advantage for being in there. So I want to open up the show first. Before we get into all of that, I want to talk about out of Brockton, Massachusetts. Matt writes in and says, Mike, I love the podcast. I just wanted to drop a line to say that a friend of mine had told me about your podcast a few months ago. I'm just starting to listen to it now. I'm up to episode number 40. I love it. I love the message. I wanted to let you know that I stepped into my WW meeting a year ago this week at 423.6 pounds. Apparently, I wasn't ready because I went in 2 weeks later and I was down 6. But then I didn't go again until I hit my tipping point in February of this year, and it just clicked. Everything about it just clicked. The freestyle program, my leader, the members in the meeting, everything. I have now gone to a meeting faithfully, not missing one meeting since February. I'm down currently 127 pounds with about 60 to go with a doctor's note. This past weekend, I ran my first 5K race up in Maine, and I'm not hooked on running. Something I thought that was impossible 127 pounds ago. Great work on the podcast. Thank you for all the efforts, and thank you for your service to our country, Matt, out of, again, Brockton, Massachusetts. So, Matt, congratulations on the amazing accomplishment. You are very inspiring. To 127 pounds, Donna just chimes in during the live show and says, wow. And I agree with that. Wow, 127 pounds. You do not do that on accident. You just don't wake up one morning and say, oh, look, oh my gosh, I'm down 127 pounds. You know, Marcia posted in the group today that she's down 75 pounds, and she said, guess what just happened? Like, no, it didn't just happen. It happened, you know, a point here, a point there, 2 points here, 2 pounds there. That's how it happened. So it doesn't just happen. It happens because you wake up for every single morning. You wake up saying, I want to do this. You remind yourself to stay focused. You stay dialed in, and you get it done. That's how you lose 127 pounds. It's the same exact way you lost the first 6. The slight difference is that you just didn't stop doing it. The discipline, the effort, the dedication it takes to lose 5 and 10 pounds is the same discipline, dedication it takes to lose 127 pounds. You just have to continue adding it all together. It's incredible what you've done to lose 127 pounds, and with 60 pounds to go till you get a doctor's note and reach your goal. I want to challenge you on that, and so I want you to get to goal, and I think you're there mentally. It sounds like you are. I want to just push you a little bit and expand your mind, and certainly, you know, follow your doctor's advice. That is the most important part. But we don't know what 60 pounds is going to look like for you at this point. It may be, you may get there and say, you know what, I want to do a couple more. You may get close and say, you know what, this is it. So I want you to, at this point, I want you to ditch the number. I want you to just start continuing to live your life. Continue to do everything that you're doing. And then at some point you're going to say, this is it. That's phase 1 of this journey, where you finally get to the point where you say, you know what, this is how, and this is what I want to do. I'm eating right. I'm working out better. I'm moving more. This is goal. That's what you're after. That's what you're celebrating. So that's my challenge to you, is that, you know, keep doing all the amazing work that you've done. There's no question what you've done is incredible. Faithfully hitting a meeting, not missing a single one since February. Folks, did you hear that? This dude has not missed a meeting. Now we call them workshops, but he has not missed a single one. If that doesn't tell you where his brain is at, nothing will give you that clue. He's dialed in. He knows what he wants. He's after it. Week after week after week. Not going to a meeting is not negotiable. That's dedication. That's the priority of placing you first. And when you place you first, you get results. And not only do you get results, what happens is you want to get results, and you stay focused throughout the entire time. I promise you, you know, and I haven't even met Matt, but I promise you that the way his email reads, the dude's looking forward to his next meeting when he leaves the first one. You know, when he walks out of there and said, you know, I'm sure he's thinking, okay, now when's the next one? And I know he's, you know, tracking everything that he wants to do to make sure he gets there. Matt, congrats on your first 5K race up in Maine. How cool is that, running a 5K? We're going to talk about in just a second the 5K we ran up in DC, but 5K is my favorite distance. It really is. It's because you can get out there. You don't have to spend all day doing it. You don't have to spend your entire life training for it. You can measure the time, and you can actually see legitimate progress from race to race, from run to run. Man, a 5K distance, it really is, it's inspiring to watch people do them. So I want you to keep tabs on your time, and I want you to kind of just slowly improve on that time and just see where it goes. But the fact that you just crossed the starting line is truly the success, and you're absolutely right. It's something that you did not think was even possible 127 pounds ago. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. Thanks for being, you're all the way up to episode 40. You got a lot in store for you. Hopefully you're skipping ahead and hearing this one. I would encourage you to go this way now and work backwards. Some of them, I don't know, it's up to you guys. Some of the middle ones I think now may not be as relevant to the current journey. Maybe at some point I'll archive them off so that new people come in and they start fresh with the new stuff that's going on. But we'll discuss that later, but kind of an option. But so here we are, Matt. Last words for you is when it clicks, it clicks. And so many people try and describe that clicking feeling, and we just can't. And so what happens is all of a sudden you wake up one morning and you realize, I'm doing this. No matter what, I'm doing this. When that switch flips, you've got it. Now what happens is you still just keep moving. Nothing changes. You keep doing what you're doing, but you're much more excited and anticipating the meetings. You just love everything about the journey. That click is truly fun when it happens. So Matt, again, congratulations. 127 pounds down is an incredible job. Keep up the amazing work. You can reach whatever goal you set for yourself. You absolutely can do that. So thank you, Matt. You're an incredible dude. Keep up the amazing work. Hey, I want to now switch gears. I want to talk about the trip up to Washington, D.C. I told you during the intro of the show that I would talk about that. And here's what I want to do. I want to kind of give you the full recap. So just hang on for just a minute as we do it. But what I'll do is I'll give you some recap, and then I'll actually run through the presentation that I delivered to the conference. The title of the presentation was called "The Military Crisis: The Link Between Obesity and National Security." So I'll run through that presentation. I will put the slides in the app as well, so you have access to the actual slides. And then what I'll do is, I'll go through the presentation. As you're listening, you can follow along on the slide deck if you'd like to. The slides will be in the app. But here we are. So just before I end up flying up to DC, it's called FNCE, the Food and Nutrition Conference and Expo. That's the reason I was going to DC. Had the opportunity to speak to a room of I think the room held about 600, and I'm going to say that it was well over 3/4 full. So it was a really good sized audience. But I was invited up there to present this thing. And so that's how the international tour got started. As I said, hey, I'm already going to DC. Why don't we get a run in? And so we, that Friday afternoon, I'm getting ready to fly out to Washington, DC. And I got to tell you, I don't get nervous speaking in front of people. That's not how, it's just not, luckily I don't have that, those nerves that build up. But I somehow have developed an aversion to flying and packing and getting ready. So all day Friday, I kind of was in this zone where I didn't really even want to go, but it had nothing to do with the conference. It had everything to do with, I didn't feel like getting the suitcase ready. I didn't feel like driving to the airport. I didn't feel like flying out there. But anyway, getting all that stuff done, I did. And I was hoping to have my presentation already solidified at that point, but I hadn't. So I flew up to DC. A good friend of mine met me at the airport. He picked me up and we went to dinner. And we sat for hours just catching up and just kind of, how you been and what's going on. And I filled him in on the podcast, filled him in on the race. So much is going on. We had an amazing dinner. And then he left and, up to bed I went and woke up Saturday morning bright and early to do a 5K run with all the wingmen, part of the international tour. It was the 7th stop on the tour. We started at the beginning of the year all the way out in Biloxi, and then we went to Tulsa. And then we would see Denver, Toronto, Philadelphia, Indianapolis. Now this was DC, and then next month is San Francisco. So the international tour stop number 7 was Washington, DC. We ended up doing the park run. Shout out to all the park runs out there. Go to parkrun.com, I believe. Maybe it's .org. I'm not 100% certain, but you'll figure it out. Go to Park Run. And what they do is they just, every Saturday morning, there's a run. It's a 5K run. It's free to participate. You can just go out and just hang out with whoever's running, do your run, and leave. So I found a park run at an Anacostia Park in Washington, D.C. I put the email out saying, folks, here's where we're going to be. Corey reminded me that it wasn't the safest part of town, but it turns out it was absolutely wonderful. The park was full of people playing ball and so many runners. It was just an amazing day to be out there getting some exercise. And we showed up there, and there was, I'm guessing there was about 30 of us. I didn't take a head count. There's about 30 of us there getting ready to meet up and, giving each other hugs and high fives and who are you? How are you? How's your journey been? And then next thing we know, it's time to go for the run. And so, let me back up. Before that, the cab takes me in. I took an Uber to the park. Uber dropped me off 1.5 miles away from the start line. So before the 5K even started, I already had 1.5 miles. Me and Amy, we got dropped off in the wrong location. So we made it all the way out to there. And I said we ended up going there. So I get to the start line. Corey was there. So many folks were out there. And we just started going, and so everyone takes off, and we all take off at our own pace. I decided I wanted to kind of just float around in the middle. I ran with some folks, I walked with some folks, and I ran ahead. I turned around, came back. I just wanted to stay with the group of everybody, wherever the largest groups were, and it seemed like most everybody paired up with somebody else. So I just kind of floated around, and I tell you, there were some incredibly inspiring people in there, and there was a young man, I'm not going to name drop, but there was a young man who was just absolutely doing incredible. And he's down roughly 50 pounds, and, he's looking good. The smile on his face is beautiful. Mom's down 135 pounds. Dad, I don't know his stats, and daughter was there. This young man ran the whole thing. I think he was the first one in our group across the finish line. Dude was awesome. Watching him was incredibly inspiring. Just a 12-year-old boy just out there getting it done, and it was just so awesome to watch and fun. I ended up coming through back and forth, and then what happened is I ended up coming across the finish line dead last. I was the last one. I made sure everybody else got across the line. We did. The Kathy was there, Carly was there. It's just absolutely incredible. So that was the end of the run, and then I said, hey, let's go back to my hotel. My hotel was about 3 miles away. Let's go back and have a lunch. So we went down, and I think maybe 18, 19 of us or something like that went back to the hotel. We ended up sitting and just really, that's where the magic happens, actually. It's like, the run is fun, but most of us, it's kind of hard to talk to each other when we're going like, it just doesn't work. So we go back to the hotel. We're sitting there having a great lunch and just catching up and sharing our journeys. And the coolest thing is I passed around a napkin, and I said, write your Connect name down and write your total weight loss down. And the total weight loss of the 17 folks that were at lunch, I think it was 1,154 pounds. Now you think about that for a second, right? 17 people sitting around a dinner table it took collectively down 1,100 pounds. I'm not sure what we would have done 1,100 pounds ago. It would have been a much bigger table that would have been needed. And so it was just an amazing time to be sitting there and just really, I'll sit there forever. I just really, really enjoy it. So we did. We sat there, we had lunch. When lunch was done, we went into the hotel lobby and we just sat there. I think Megan, Corey, and Ann and I think we sat there till 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that. Just nothing more than just catching up. And so that's what this event is all about. It's finding your wingman. It's finding your tribe. It's finding someone that believes in you and finding someone that walks a journey similar to you. It's just so much fun. And so as soon as they all decided they wanted to leave, they were done talking to me, which was great. Corey said she had to go. Ann said she probably had to go. Megan said she needed to leave. So they left me all alone. And so I said, well, it's time to work on my presentation. So I fired up the laptop and I ended up getting the slide deck back open and sat in the lobby. I needed the distraction. The lobby's now at this point starting to hustle and bustle. And so I sat at the table and there was probably, a handful of people in the bar or whatever. and I started pulling up my slides and just getting mentally prepared to deliver the speech the next morning. A couple things that behind the scenes happened that was just incredible. You guys know my wife is incredible. You know that. I've said that more than once, but she knows me better than anybody. And so what she knew more than anything is that when I'm in the zone, I need to be in the zone, and she appreciates that. And so I didn't really hear from her in a lot during the weekend, which was what I actually needed. But what she knew though was she wanted to check in, and so she sent me 3 or 4 different motivational quotes that were exactly what I needed at the exact time that I needed them. I don't know how she does it. I don't know how she's so plugged into my brain, but she sends me just these little tiny snippets. Maybe she finds them on Instagram and she screenshots them or whatever. And so she shot me 2 or 3 of those that were, every single one of them was right in line, and that really just put me like, okay, I'm in the zone. It's time to do this. And so yeah, we ended up, so I ended up getting my presentation done, and then and we next morning I wake up Sunday morning, I'm ready. I don't talk till after lunch, so it's a long day. I end up spending the afternoon or the morning at what they call FNCE. It's the Food Nutrition Conference and Expo. It's in Washington, D.C. This year, I think next year's in Philadelphia, and then it comes to Indy, which I'm looking forward to in the future. But so this is 11,000 dietitians. The dietitians all get together and they just do some continuing education. They network. They do a lot of amazing work on our behalf. It's such an incredible opportunity to be in amongst that crowd. It was just really heartwarming to see some amazing people. So I ended up walking the expo floor, and something caught my eye that I hadn't really noticed before. Is I've been to a lot of conferences, been to a lot of expos before. This one is so many different food products and so many different vendors, all trying to make us healthier. I mean, you don't see that very often, right? A lot of these conferences, all the major brands are there pushing all the wrong things, and so not this time. This time it was really a lot of just really great vendors, and I got to walk around a lot of them. I met a couple great vendors that had some great conversation with. California strawberries was out there, so I got to eat some strawberries. I had some fresh grapes. I mean, when's the last time you've been to a trade show that had fresh grapes and fresh strawberries? I think they had apples and peaches, and you name it, if it was healthy, it was there being represented. So walked the conference floor to kind of shake the nerves out, had lunch, and then it's time to deliver the message. The message is the military crisis. It's the link between obesity and national security. I went in there, our session started at 1:30. I went in at noon. I had to walk into the stage. I had to stand on the stage into the empty room, and I had to just kind of take it all in. I had to mentally prepare myself for what it is that I was about to do, and it was just, it all came to me like, yes, I want to do this. And so I noticed about 10 minutes before I took the stage, I noticed there was a typo in one of my slides. So in one of my slides, I wanted to give the slide a title. I couldn't think of a title when I was working on them, so I put the word title there so I wouldn't forget, and lo and behold, I did forget. So 10 minutes before showtime, I'm looking at my slides going over. I'm like, oh, I left the word title on the title slide. So I ran and fixed that, got that all squared away, and did that. So now would be a good time. Go ahead, open in the app. I've uploaded the slide deck. When this airs, you'll be able to see it. But download the slide deck, print it if you want, or at least follow along, and you'll see where I'm going through with this presentation. But again, the title is Military Crisis, the link between obesity and national security. We took the stage. There was 5 of us total. There was a moderator, and there were 4 of us presenting. And so the first 2 presenters were incredible. They talked about the statistics and what the country is currently doing and why this is important. And then a dietitian from the Air Force, she got up and she spoke, and she gave some of the facts and the data. And so that was very awesome. And so as they're speaking, I'm jotting notes of things that I want to make sure that I hit and say. And it was really, up until the second that I took the stage was really all that I had. I had it written all down. So I take the stage and I have 20 minutes. The little red light starts blinking when you get to 20 minutes. And so I delivered the whole thing in about 20 minutes, 49 seconds. I'll run through it quickly here with you now. But in essence, like this is a small piece of a much larger presentation. I believe that the conference has recorded the audio, and if I can get my hands on that and it's shareable, I would love to share that with you guys. If it's not shareable, then it's just not shareable, but you'll get it through here as well. But so I opened up. I said, again, I have to disclose. For full disclosure, I'm active duty military with the Indiana Air National Guard, Senior Master Sergeant Recruiting and Retention Superintendent. I'm also the CEO and founder of Operation Fat Dag, a 501c3 nonprofit charity that is aimed to make sure that members of the military are no longer lost on the battlefield, no longer lost to obesity. And so that is the full disclosure there. And then I opened the show with, like I do a lot of my other talks, is I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a fitness expert. I'm not a healthy eating coach. I'm not a research analyst. I'm an airman. I'm just an airman, and I'm a mess. You see, 26 years ago, I swore to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic, and I would give my life today to keep that promise. Well, damn it, I'm a good airman. I've received many awards and decorations. Back in 1997, I was the Maintainer of the Year for the entire nation. I was flying all over the country, all over the world, I should say, repairing radar systems. And so out of all the maintainers in the Air Force and the Air Guard, I was named the best named maintainer in 1997. In 2002, I was the Rookie Recruiter of the Year. I was the best recruiter in the entire nation. I've been given the Meritorious Service Medal 2 times. I've been given the Air Force Commendation Medal 3 times, the Air Force Achievement Medal 4 times. I've even been given the Air Force Outstanding Military Volunteer Medal. By most accounts, this is a very successful career, but in the shadows lies a very dark secret. It's one that we don't often talk about in society, and for sure we don't talk about enough in the military. It's that I'm a good airman in all aspects of my career, except one. I have an addiction. I have an addiction to food. And that addiction, it causes me to struggle with my weight. It causes me to struggle with my fitness test, no matter how much I wish that I could pass the test. I've been in the military for 26 years. 20 of them, I've been overweight. I remember all the way back in 1997, that's the first memory I have of being overweight in the military. And I just came back from a deployment. We were in Hungary and Bosnia, doing a little, back in that crisis, Operation Joint Endeavor back in the day. And we came back from that deployment, and our mission had changed. Our unit was moving from the Maine Air National Guard to the New Hampshire Air National Guard. And so one by one, after coming back after a long deployment, we all went through this transfer process to move from one state to the next. Well, that transfer process goes through the recruiting office, and the recruiting office sets standards as to what the max height and weight you can be. So as my entire unit transfers from the Maine Air Guard to the New Hampshire Air Guard, I get stopped at the line and say, well, hang on, Mike, you can't transfer, you're overweight. You have to stay back. That's the very first memory I have of being overweight in the military. And so, and it continues on from there. When I went to recruiting school, I remember being weighed the very first morning of recruiting school to make sure I'd meet the height and weight, requirements. The morning before recruiting school, I was in the gym doing another run, just hoping to burn off another pound so I could make the weight. The week before school, I was eating nothing but chicken and baked potatoes, hoping to lose enough weight to get there. And then in 2005, I wanted to apply to work in Washington, D.C. And when I applied, they said, well, hang on, Mike, we need a copy of your fitness scores. So as you can see, this has impacted my entire career. I've had so much limited career advancement and so much, limited opportunity to travel and do other TDYs because I was overweight. I was real good at passing the fitness test, but every year, a few months before the test, I'd go really extreme, and I would do extreme diets and extreme exercise, trying to do whatever I could to lose the weight. I'd always been able to do it. I'd always just barely squeak by, just with no time to spare, I would pass the test. But because I told you, I'm a really good airman. I spent most of my time really trying to beat the fitness test. I didn't really spend as much time preparing for it. I really just thought I could beat it. And I remember walking into a spa one afternoon before my test and laying there and getting a seaweed wrap. You know, they cover your body in seaweed and they extract every single bit of water out of your cells to kind of lose an inch or two, because the Air Force fitness test, when they do their test, they do an abdominal circumference. And if you're over, you're over. So I went and did a seaweed wrap, hoping to lose an inch or two off my midsection. I remember very vividly walking to the fitness facility and thinking on the way there that, if I could just fall down the stairs, and if I missed like the last couple steps and tripped and sprained my ankle and everyone saw it, then maybe they would not force me to take the test that afternoon. I would think things like that. I remember thinking, like, on the way driving to the fitness field, if I pulled out a little too early and maybe I hit the car in front of me, again, I don't want to hurt anybody. That's kind of foolish, but I was trying to do whatever I could to not take the test. I would pray for rain. I would pray for snow in July, hoping something freak would make it so I didn't have to take this test. When it was actually time, and none of those things worked, when I actually got to the point to take the test, I would look for the people who were administering the test who I thought would be the most lenient on me. I would look for people that I thought would give me a break, and pulling the tape measure can be a little subjective. I actually remember one time before my test where I was given a direct order to take some preparation H and take saran wrap it around my body and say, go to bed with saran wrap wrapped around me, hoping to extract some water out of there as well. It was a direct order by an 06. He said, Mike, I'm ordering you to do this. You have to pass this test. I tell you, it messes with your mind. Now, I was raised in a family with integrity, so the Air Force's core value of integrity first, it certainly rings true to me. That's a natural fit. Despite all my desire to want to pass this test, I couldn't allow myself to cheat the test. I made the conscious decision that I'm going to own it. I'm gonna give it my all. I'm gonna go for this thing. I'm gonna pass this test. I'm gonna give it every ounce of energy that I have. I'm not gonna cheat it. I'm gonna do my absolute best. Well, that was a great plan, with the exception of one thing. I wasn't ready to take the test. I was nowhere near ready. I was completely out of shape, and so I ended up failing my very first fitness test, and that was in 2011. I had just moved to Indiana. I was the superintendent of recruiting and retention, and so I was the new recruiter, and it was a unit-wide assessment. I taped 1 inch over my max, and so they pulled the tape measure out. It was just 1 inch too much, and it was an automatic failure. I just couldn't get it done. I remember wanting to blame the tape guy, thinking it was his fault somehow, and but I couldn't do that. I knew it was all me, and so I decided that I just owned it. And when I talked to my boss was a one-star general. He asked me, "How did you move it?" I said, "Well, how'd you fail?" And he said, "Sir, I didn't prepare. And I owned it." And he looked right at me and he goes, "Mike, I've heard a lot of excuses throughout my career, and very few people actually own it." I said, "Sir, it's all me, no excuses, but I promise you, if you give me another opportunity, I'll never fail another test. I just need one more opportunity." And of course, the Air Force regulation gives me the opportunity to retest, so that was fine. But I promised my general, I would never, ever, ever, ever fail this test again. And so I did. I busted my tail, and for 6 months, I went on this crazy diet, and I worked out extreme, and I ended up passing my fitness test. And so finally, I get that monkey off my back. We're like, okay, finally, I passed it, and I went and celebrated with food. I told you I have an addiction, so off to Buffalo Wild Wings I went to celebrate, and so slowly but surely my weight kept creeping up. Over the course of the next 11 months, I was completely out of shape again, and now it's time to retake another fitness test, and here I am, not even close to ready. So the test came, and so rather than taking this, I had made the promise never to fail another one, so I knew it wasn't going to happen. I knew I couldn't pass it, so rather than taking it and failing it, I just decided to not take it. And so for about 2.5 years, I hid. I avoided every opportunity to take the test, and so internally the stress, the anxiety, the guilt, the fear, the shame all starts racking up, and it really starts messing with your brain. And I was in a world of hurt. I needed some help. And so, I'm now 2.5 years overdue on a fitness test, and I realized I needed to get some help. I reached out to counselors. I reached out to, the folks that would help us. And I said, I need some help. I didn't get the response that I needed. And so I drafted a very heart-wrenching letter to about a dozen of my closest friends and said, and friends and leaders, and I said, I need some help. Here I am, I got a fitness test in 68 days, and I'm not ready. What am I going to do? And please help me. And, I got really no real response from that email. And it really kind of hit me. I was like, man, I'm kind of in this alone. Now, sure, I got a couple emails. I got the, hey, Mike, you should work out more. Hey, Mike, you should eat less. Hey, Mike, if you want to go to the gym, I'll meet you at the gym. And hey, Mike, I'll even pray for you, which all great things, but it's not what I needed. I knew all that beforehand. There was one person, though. There was one person that completely changed my life, and that's my wingman. He knew exactly what I needed. He knew that I needed to be reminded every single day what the goal was. So he picked up the phone and he called me and said, Mike, what's the scenario? What's going on? I said, well, sir, here I am. I got a fitness test in 68 days, and I'm not ready for it, and I'm not going to pass it. And I promised my boss I'd never fail. I'm 2.5 years overdue. He's like, yep, okay, I got it. I got the scenario. And he hangs up. He didn't give me any advice. He didn't give me any help. He just let me talk, and then he ended the conversation. So here I was. I thought for sure I was doomed. The one person I thought would help me, he hung up on me. I went to bed that night, and the next morning I woke up to an email from him, and I said, good morning, Mike. Day 68, we got this. Go do it. And so I did. I woke up that morning, and I was on fire. I was like, okay, great. And I stayed focused. I did okay. And then the next morning I woke up and said, good morning, Mike, day 67. We got this. Good morning, Mike, day 66. Good morning, Mike, day 65. Good morning, Mike, day 64, 63, 62, 61. Every single day, he sent me an email first thing in the morning. It was the first thing I saw every single morning was a note from him saying, good morning, Mike, we got this. Now, all it did was just, it started my day in the right mindset. It started my day knowing that I could do it and that someone believed in me. Boy, that's where I really learned the value of believing in others. And he believed in me from day one, but he just set me on the path to getting it done right. And so I go down 68 days in, and I get all the way to the end, and I take my fitness test and I pass it. It was an incredible moment of celebration. I had worked so hard to pass this test, and I tell you, I left that field and I went right to have lunch. I had to celebrate with food again because that's the only way I knew how to celebrate. And so off to Buffalo Wild Wings once again to celebrate this amazing accomplishment, because I hadn't eaten in 6 months, so it was time to really go through and make up for lost time. And then the email stopped, because I had passed the test, the danger was done, and so no more email, no more support. I went to Buffalo Wild Wings, like I said, and my weight started slowly creeping back up again. Next thing I know, here we are, 1 year later, I'm at the highest weight I've ever been, 263 pounds. And so I had known what I needed to do. I knew that I needed daily support. I knew I needed accountability. I knew I needed to eat better, but I needed to make a new plan. That new plan, I get, in January, I go to the gym every single morning to get it done, and every single day in February, I was there every single morning, and in March, there was really no change. I started Weight Watchers on March 1st. I opened my app. I started as an online member. On March 1st, I tracked every single thing I ate. On March 2nd, I tracked every single thing that I ate. March 3rd, I tracked everything I ate. March 4th, I tracked most everything I ate. March 5th, I tracked some of what I ate. March 6th, I didn't track. March 7th, I didn't track. March 8th, I knew I was in trouble. And so on March 8th, I walked back into the meeting and I said, I need help. I need accountability. I need someone to walk this journey with me. Now, this is certainly my crisis, and I had to find my solution. So my story, as me suffering through an entire military career, it doesn't exist in any of the data sets and the statistics about obesity in the military. My discharge would have been a normal expiration of service. It would not have registered as being kicked out for a fitness failure. That's how it was going to happen for me. So we absolutely do have a crisis in the military. Mission Readiness, which is a group of folks that just released a report called Unhealthy and Unprepared, they've identified that 31% of the youth of today are disqualified for military service. In fact, the number is actually higher than that. It's 71% of the youth today are disqualified for service. Whether it be education, law violations, drug use, or obesity is the number 3 reason why we disqualify kids from joining the military. In the active duty military alone, 7.8% of the members are overweight. That's strictly the active duty. That doesn't count for the reserve and the guard component. So this report that has been released by Mission Readiness really outlines the detail, and it talks about the issue. Continuing on, the United States Navy has adopted a new policy for folks who are in this fitness phase where they're struggling with their fitness, and they've revamped their policy, and they've granted amnesty to 48,000 sailors. Now, don't tell me that there's not a problem. If you can, create an amnesty for 48,000 sailors in one branch, the problem needs to be addressed. Now, in my observation as a recruiter, walking into high schools, I can see it. I can see the kids are just not as healthy as they need to be. I have the amazing opportunity to talk to members of the Army who are struggling with their fitness. They've been identified by their command as needing some extra help, and they're in part of a Life Fit class, and I have the amazing opportunity to meet with them a couple times a year. Every time I go in, the class is 30 or 40 people. I've gone in multiple times in the same year. Many of the emails, many of the other responses I get from individuals who say, Mike, I want to help, they're senior officers, they're senior enlisted. They're higher ranking in the military where they just aren't ready to ask for help. In the military, if you're a commander, you almost can't ask for help. No one wants to go to the battle with the commander and says, hey guys, help me with this. You want the commander to be strong and say, here's what we're doing, we're getting it done, and I can lead this. So the military gives us this mindset that we have to be strong, and asking for help almost often goes against that. We know that's not the case, but that's what goes on in our mind. The United States Army now has just released a new combat fitness test that's going to rechange how we test soldiers for battle. The Army Chief of Staff has a very hard stance on this policy. He says, if you can't get in shape in 24 months, then maybe you should hit the road. Now, let me tell you, I 100% agree with that. I absolutely believe that if you're going to serve in the military, you should be in the best shape of your life. You should be fit. You should be able to do whatever the mission requires of you. So I agree, if you can't get in shape in 24 months, then maybe you should hit the road. But dang, we owe it to them to work with them. Take these lessons a different way. Let's say if we reframe and said, let's go to the financial spending. If you can't get your financial spending under control in 24 months, then maybe you should hit the road. How about if you can't control your alcohol addiction in 24 months? Well, then maybe you should hit the road. How about if you can't get your head on right? If you're still suicidal after 24 months, then maybe you should hit the road. What we've got to do, we all know what we need to do. We know we have to take control of our own actions. But we owe it to folks in the military to take the lessons that we've learned with financial spending, with alcohol addiction, with suicide prevention. There are lessons that we've learned on how to deal with the emotional aspect of this. Those lessons need to be incorporated into everything that we do. And they need to be transcended down to obesity in the military, so that members who are serving have a true place where they can go and get help. They have a true place and a true support network. They have a wingman that'll walk with them. I specifically founded Operation Fat Dag to do just that. That's the whole mission. That's the whole purpose of this 501c3, is to give them a safe place, to give them the tools, the resources, and if needed, the financial resources to get it done. Now and on, I ended up passing my fitness test, and now, anytime, any day I can pass this test. That's not an issue. It all happened because I found the program that I needed. I addressed the mental side of this entire journey, and I completely changed my life. And I charge you and I challenge you, if you are in a position to provide help, whether it be through counseling, whether it be through a program that you administer, you owe it to yourself to use the tools that you've been training for and deploy them to combat this crisis that we have in the military. So thank you for that. So then that's how I ended the speech, and I thought it went really well. A couple people clapped, so that certainly didn't hurt, And so it was just one of those great days where I was just very, very happy to be able to be chosen to deliver the message. So that's what I have. I'm going to kind of reboot here on Instagram. It just kind of timed out on us, but get the Instagram folks back in. But so that was it. That was the talk. I put up the slide that had all my contact information. Like I said, at least 2 people in the audience clapped. So that was certainly good. I think one person took a picture of my contact me slide. So that made me feel kind of good. But it was a great day. So Ginger is clapping on Facebook. So thank you for the claps there as well. But yeah, so I tell you, this is very, very real for me. It's something that I didn't really know where I was going to turn. I didn't really know what I was going to do. You guys certainly came through answering the call for me as well. And together we're out here getting it done. So it was an amazing day in that regard. And then the cool thing was I was invited to another conference as well to be able to share this story. So I can't wait to share that details with you. Hopefully I'm accepted as a speaker in that conference as well. But I had a couple people after come up to me and hand me some cards, tell me their stories, and so that's what we're doing. That's what Operation Fat Dag is. And what was interesting now too is that there's 2 different communities. There's certainly the military community that I'm very passionate about, but you guys that if you're not in the military, you're very much a part of this. The part that you play, the role that you play is I tell them that this is possible. I need some proof. I need you to prove it. I can prove it by me, but that's one scenario. I need guys like Matt, saying I'm down 127 pounds, and I need people like Marsha down 75 pounds. I need people that are just successful in maintaining a healthy lifestyle. So when I say I believe in you and you can do it, I can say, look, other people have done it as well. That's the role you play in all this. So yeah, it's 2 different communities, but man, we're all one big family out getting it done, and that's it. So thank you for all your support along the way. I want to wrap this up. It's been a long episode, but I think it was worth it. I hope you got what you wanted out of it. I know I certainly did, and it's awesome to hang out with you. It's awesome to be a part of this group, and it's so much fun to celebrate with you. So what is it that you're celebrating? I always want to know that. Let's share it on the air. You can go to fatdag.com, click on the WhysAdvice podcast link, send in your celebrations, your comments, send in your questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. You know the deal. I want you to email in your celebrations because I want you to be proud of what you're doing. I want you to share it so other people are proud of what you're doing. Other people see that it's possible. That's what, you guys know this. That's the whole reason this podcast exists, is to share stories that you may not have heard. So many people write in and say, well, my story is the same as everybody else. No, it's not. Write it in, send it in, get it down, but share it. Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus. Whew. So that was me in DC. What do you think? I liked it. Pamela says, for a while there, I forgot you were doing it. What do you think we're doing? Jane says, driving home from WW meeting, listening WW workshop, listening to you. Thank you. Michelle on Instagram says, military mama in tears, so emotional. Yeah. Try living it, right? Ugh, crazy. Diane says, thanks for sharing. Excellent. Thank you, Diane. Karen says, fantastic. Heather says, liked it too. So I was really hoping to share it with you guys ahead of time. But I tell you, I didn't have any opportunity to share it up until, it wasn't finalized until 10 seconds before. Lynette says, it was awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Jane says, caught me. Yeah, because you said meeting. We don't do meetings anymore, right? We do workshops. So cool. All right, so I got to get this thing rolling. I got to get it out. Stephanie says, very nice episode, different experience watching it live. I agree. It's way more fun interacting with you guys as well. So very cool. Karen says it was awesome except for the hat. But look, the hat says wipes up on it. And it says Fat Dag on this side. What's wrong with that? Isn't that the coolest hat ever? Yeah. So Anne says, main job, I knew you would rock it. So yep, I don't know if I rocked it or not, but people clapped. That's the only thing I had to go on, right? Jeannie was there. She said I did good, so that was kind of cool. Yeah, so it was kind of, Kathy says, I'm sure everyone's at the edge of their seats. As I was speaking, to me, it looked like the audience was frozen. I didn't see anyone moving, and I just don't know if that's how when I present, I get in the zone, and I see, but I don't see, I guess. So I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm going to guess they were locked in and listened. So, yeah. So Judy says, I'm sorry I missed most of it, but you'll catch it later. Yeah, I'll put it. It's on YouTube, and it'll be in the app in the morning. So cool. With that, let's go ahead and wrap this up. So early morning for me tomorrow. Got a lot of meetings scheduled tomorrow, so I got to get that done. And I still got to get time to get this thing published. So thank you for that. Brianna, you're very welcome. Let's close down Instagram first. Thank you guys for being here. Always Instagram goes first, so that's just how it is. But at least I rebooted for a little bit. But again, thank you for being here. Have a great night. More than anything, I wish you good focus. Good night. Maria says, well, I will listen to the recorded version coming up late. Jane's asking anything about San Francisco. Yeah, I'm working on the Chrissy Park run is what I'm working on. So go to Park Run, click on Chrissy Park. It'll be Saturday on the 10th, I think. That's the deal with that. I'll get an email out shortly. I got to book my airline ticket next. And then I got to book my hotel next. I got a lot of work to do in that lane. So I'm trying to figure out if Janine and Megan are coming with me or not. A lot going on, but the Park Run in Chrissy Park is the run that I'll be doing. So that's the deal there. So that is 99.9% sure. So cool. YouTube, thank you. 68 minutes and 2 seconds. It's time to go. Good night. I wish you good focus.